hope everybody's been having a great evening. And again, just want to extend gratitude that you guys are here at 6 p.m. All of you guys are here for Ignite, and people are still coming through. To introduce myself, my name is Martin Charles. I'm the Market Center Administrator for the Rockville Market Center in Keller Williams Capital Properties. I'm also the Finance Manager for all of our KWCP Keller Williams Capital Properties offices. So we have about 8 offices in the Maryland, DC, Virginia region, and I get the pleasure of paying over 1,000 agents on a daily basis, as well as handling the books, the finances, ensuring that the offices are profitable each month. Now, that probably sounds like a big job to some, 1,000 agents, one person. Unfortunately, it's not just me in that particular space. I do have a good little team around me. And then as the Market Center Administrator, I essentially handle a lot of the business consultations in Rockville and ensure that our agents are on the right and steady. As some of you guys know, this is the season for business planning. And so that's kind of my goal, is to ensure our agents have their goals set. Whatever your goal is or whatever their goal is, that's my goal for them. So if they're trying to do 100,000 in profit for 2022, that's my goal. And it's a matter of how can we get you there? How can I help? Who can I connect you with? If your goal is to just do $90 or just cover a McDonald's meal, then hey, that's my goal. And it's just kind of a matter of, again, how can we get you there? So tonight's class is on Ignite Spark 6, which is deliver your value proposition. And this one is actually one of my favorite Ignite sessions because essentially it's really all about you for the most part. So while I'm the instructor, this evening is going to be some fun collaboration and communication and all that good stuff. So hopefully you don't have to hear me talk all night. I don't mind, but I definitely love this class. And so let's kind of get jump started on in. What are you excited about, or with this being the 6th session of Ignite, what have you learned so far? And you can write it in the chat. You can unmute yourself if possible. But we're going to have some conversations over the next couple of hours. So what are you excited about? What have you learned so far? Any ahas thus far? How to naturally follow up on leads. I love it. Thank you, Raquel. And anyone else? How to schedule the day, how to add contacts on command. Love it. Scheduling the day, that's my favorite thing. Again, as you guys heard, I service 1,000 agents. So my day is pretty much all about scheduling. That's the only way I can survive and provide the love to everybody. Time blocking to reach out to leads is vitally important. I love that. Thank you, Gemma. Scheduling your day, how to do work conversations. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Angel, on interesting ways to touch leads. Absolutely. So again, I'm glad to see all of this love. And one of the great things about Ignite is hopefully you guys are in this journey together. So I do encourage you to share your contact information and share all of those fun pieces as the person in this little Ignite room or square could be a potential referral. We're all kind of in here to better our business. And so we're all pretty much in this together. So please introduce yourselves if you have not had a chance to do so, because I'm pretty sure we all just want to succeed and see each other succeed and all that good stuff. So awesome. Let's kind of get started. So the purpose of delivering your value proposition, as I mentioned, it's one of my favorites. I love seeing the positivity come through to the chat. So thank you, Catherine, and everybody. Today's class is really all about you specifically, and the value that you bring to your customers, your community, and your business. And so that's essentially what we call a value proposition. So if you haven't had a chance to be a little selfish, tonight is your chance to really just make it all about you. And ultimately, at the end of the session, hopefully you have a strong value proposition or a working value proposition that you can sell to your potential clients and things like that. So we always kick it off with what successful agents do every day, and that's grow the business, which is lead generating, making presentations, previewing real estate, and then we're also running the business, to not be a secret agent. Love it, Maria. So running the business consists of marketing listings, showing buyer homes, negotiating contracts, transaction management, vendor management, setting goals. I'm a very big proponent of setting goals. Compliance, attending the training. So again, thank you all once again for being here this evening. Some with your kids, getting them started in real estate early. I love it. Managing money and all of that good stuff. So every day agents do these two type of activities. It's either growing the business or you're running the business. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. And the goal of our time here is to model what successful agents do every day and essentially show you how to do it. And so the agenda for today's class, for tonight's class rather, is defining your value, reviewing the 3 aspects of service, knowing and stating what your value is, delivering value, building some successful habits, and then just recapping and ahas. So I'm gonna zip on through. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, unmute yourselves. Again, this is hopefully more of a conversation than just a meeting, because it's all about you. And so this is our roadmap for the day. And let's get started. So when we talk about value proposition, it's a simple and precise description of the benefits that customers will get from working with you. Does anybody have a definition or would like to define or would anybody like to say how would having a value proposition help you move from leads to contracts to closed? Or why having a value proposition is so important? I like that a little bit better. Catherine, you're muted unless you're trying to. Got it. Why is having a value proposition so important? What can you offer to your clients that competitors do not?
It can
Love it. Lydia?
It can help you stand out, or just help them get more clarity if you're the right person, if you guys are right for each other. Help identify what you bring to the table, the strength, so what they might be looking for.
Absolutely. I mean, think about the best service that you've had. Who here has stayed at a very good hotel, like a 5-star hotel? The Ritz-Carlton, or I've stayed at the Waldorf Astoria in New York, and their value is off the wazoo that they're going to give you a 5-star treatment. If you've ever gone to the Ritz-Carlton, they really take good notes about who you are, to where if you go to another Ritz-Carlton, that person will know about you usually. I've heard of a story where somebody had this favorite, wore purple every day to a Ritz-Carlton hotel once. And the people at the front desk took great notes about that, to where she stayed at another Ritz-Carlton and they bought her a nice little purple present of sorts on her stay as just kind of a thank you. Something that stuck in her mind, like, wow, you really blew me away. And that was their value proposition, is to ensure that their clients, that the people that are staying at their hotel, have the best night or best time of their life, to where they will come back again and again and again. And I'm sure you guys have had that same experience at a lot of different places, hopefully, of some killer customer service, if you will. That's part of that value proposition. So let's get into the 3 aspects of service. Who here has read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book? Either nod or put yes in the chat. See some nods. Awesome. So Gary Keller, when he was researching and writing the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, he noted that every top producing agent he spoke with had a deep and almost inherent sense of service. You cannot grow a real estate business if you don't prioritize your client's experience above all else. A stellar experience is how you earn your commission and get referrals. And I'm pretty sure that's why we're all in the business of real estate, is to help our clients find their dream home, or find that best home for themselves, if you will. And so we've essentially identified 3 aspects of service, which knows the underlying purpose of real estate. And that's really a compelling value proposition in Fiduciary. And together, all of these aspects guarantee that your clients will have the best possible real estate experience. And so what is the underlying purpose of real estate? And that's my question to you guys. What is the purpose of real estate?
To bring together 2 people for the common goal of the transfer of that real estate property.
Right. So for buyers, it's about finding them the right home, right, Rosette? At the best price, in the right time, with the least amount of problems.
Least amount of problems, right?
And then for sellers, it's about netting them the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time, with the least amount of problems.
Right.
What's the common denominator? Least amount of problems. What happens to your clients' buying or selling experience if you don't understand that this is the purpose of real estate?
I'm sorry, can you ask that a question again?
So what happens to your client's experience if you don't understand that their purpose is finding or selling a home with the least amount of problems?
It'll be a memorable one, but probably not for good reason.
Bingo. Yes. It will be a memorable one, but a least fun one. You don't want to be that bad a realtor. Again, think of having a very bad experience at a restaurant.
Yeah.
My mom will not go or set foot in I don't know if anybody's heard of a Rainforest Cafe. It's one of my favorite restaurants, but my mom had a horrible experience once at one of them in, I believe, Las Vegas, and she will never set foot in another one again. And not because the new one may be bad, but because that one in Las Vegas set such a bad taste in her mouth that all of them are bad to her. And so with the real estate, it's significant that you provide the best of care to your clients, because you'd really hate to leave that bad of a taste in somebody's mouth. I hope that I see a lot of head nods, so thank you for agreeing. But yeah, you don't want to leave on a bad note at all. Um, and so as a realtor, what problems have you anticipated for your clients? Or are there anything problems that you've anticipated for your clients and thought of ways to avoid them?
Well, one problem for a buyer might be that they think that they qualify for X, but they really can only afford Y. And the solution would be to set them up with a lender at the start of the process.
Oh, yeah. Knowing what the buyers qualify for. Thank you, Blair, and then getting the financing they need. Thank you, Maritza. So that's kind of a part of that value proposition and good customer service, is kind of knowing what those pitfalls are and how to kind of overachieve those. So thank you for that. Speaking of our value proposition, let's define what that is exactly. So your value proposition essentially distills your service offerings into a succinct set of benefits for your client. It states what you do for the client to earn your commission and helps to explain the complexity of what you do. It also helps hold you accountable to high standards. So, went a little too fast. So, what do you see as the value of your value proposition? Or does anybody have a value proposition tinkering that they'd like to share by chance? And if not, that's fine. That's why you're here.
I would say good customer service. It goes a long way. Some things we don't have control over, but providing our clients, buyers and sellers, with excellent customer service is a good value aspect. You have no control over the house that's listed. You have no control over the things that the sellers think is valuable to them that the buyers may not. You have no control over the financing, the things that they can qualify for, rates. We don't have control over those, but we do have control over the service that we provide them when issues come up, when they're disappointed. That we do have control over. And I always go back to Chick-fil-A. They just sell chicken and chicken nuggets, but their lines are always wrapped around the building because they do provide really good customer service. So I would say for me, it's customer service. I love good customer service.
Thank you, Kindred. And I agree. I love that. I saw Koryatha. I had a heart. And I saw some head nods. So we're all in agreement with you. And usually it's something that's very easy to forget, right? Providing good customer service, it's such a simple thing that sometimes we overcomplicate it and make things a little tricky. And customer service, I think, is pretty much synonymous with value, right? It's easy to forget that they must understand your value. And when we talk about value propositions, that is what you bring to the experience, right? So Kendra, your value proposition to Billy Bob may be something completely different from Victor's value proposition. It's all about what you have to bring to them and what they can gain from it, ultimately. And insights in language that makes them relevant to your clients, if you will. Which is why I started off and said this class is really just about you. And your value is going to be drastically different from my value. It's going to be drastically different from Gary Keller's value. But it's what kind of customer service can you provide to your client at that given time. So thank you. And one of the examples that my guide kind of gives is, let's say that you're bilingual. Let's say that you speak Spanish or a different language. You may, when you're proposing or saying what your value proposition is, you may simply say that I'm bilingual to kind of gain customers and things like that. That's true, but is that the true value that you can provide to your client? Not really. So when you're thinking of your value proposition, you kind of have to, what makes you stand out at being able to speak 2 languages? And they offer, I have access to a large pool of potential buyers for your home who are often overlooked by other agents. Voila. And so that's a strong value proposition. That's who you are and what you can provide to those clients, which I think is amazing. Love it, Lydia. So if you're looking at a chat, Lydia says, as a holistic realtor, I bring tools, strategies, and resources that will provide you with promotion of well-being while acquiring one of your largest assets. Love it. All right. Love it. Awesome. So we're going to move on into functionary versus fiduciary. Does anybody know what is a fiduciary and how it is different from a functionary? Taking on back to English, which is my major. So, what is a fiduciary? And I know it's a little late, so maybe we don't feel like using our brains that much. I know my brain is starting to teeter itself.
It's just a trust relationship. It's trust.
Absolutely. That's pretty much what it is. Fiduciary is essentially both an adjective and a noun. As an adjective, it refers to something dealing with trust, especially with relationships. So when we talk on a real estate terms, you have a fiduciary duty to your clients to protect their best interest during what will likely be their largest and most frightening transaction in their life, which is why I loved Lydia's value proposition. It's one of your largest assets that your client is trusting you with. As a noun, a fiduciary refers to the person who has an obligation or fiduciary obligation. So when we talk about fiduciary, ultimately you are your client's fiduciary. That person is trusting you with their largest asset. They are trusting that you will find them the perfect home or the best place for them to live and reside. And as a functionary, that is one who completes tasks for clients, whereas the fiduciary is really just completing tasks and going beyond by placing their clients' interests ahead of all others, even their own. So again, think of that Ritz-Carlton experience. Really going above and beyond to ensure that that person's a repeat client. No pressure, no pressure. Love it. So when we think about fiduciary, what are some of the ways that you serve as your client's fiduciary during a real estate transaction?
You're talking about when it comes to writing up the contract or even negotiations?
In general, so you're your client's most trusted person. So what are some ways that you serve them? What are some, how do you assist them?
Well,
You
educate
hold what they
process.
say in confidence.
Withhold what they say in confidence. Yes, thank you, Blair. Rosette, what
Yeah.
you were gonna count on?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. And it's actually Rosita. I know the spelling.
Rosita, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. The spelling throws everybody off.
Rosita, noted.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And with that too, just to, educate them through the process, make sure they understand, what's going on at each part of it.
For your clients, you have an obligation of loyalty and accounting. A fiduciary has duty of accounting. In other words, the earnest money that has to be handled correctly. But it's care, the duty of care.
Oh yeah, thank you, Donna. You said earnest money. That's a big fiduciary, right? Ensuring that that check gets to the title company.
Yes, you
But with
better.
care and it's handled properly and as soon as possible. As an MCA, that kind of makes my heart sing. So thank you. Let's keep on going. So now we're going to talk about your value proposition. Again, this is all about you. And we're going to look at some data around what clients want. We're going to get a big picture look at our current real estate market, and then discuss some ways that technology can boost your value proposition. So in the participants guide, hopefully you guys all have that. I would love for you guys to go to page 5. And this is kind of the opportunity to write about yourself. And if you do not have the guide, I'm going to put it in the chat. If it will like me, let's see. And if you do not have the participant guide, just let me know. And we're essentially going to go to page 5 in the guide and just spend a couple of minutes writing about yourself. So on page 5 of the participant guide, it's just asking, what are your strengths and your perspectives? So if you can just take a couple of minutes to write that down. And I will provide the guide in a minute, and we can reconvene at 6:40. All right, so hopefully you guys have had a chance to write about yourselves and just kind of do some introspection. But anybody like to share what their strengths are? Anybody feeling bold and brave? I know one of my strengths is I'm pretty much the calming force within my market centers. So there are, again, I have 8 offices that I essentially assist with managing. And when things get crazy, as you know, there tends to be a lot of fires in real estate. I'm usually the person that people come to for that calming energy. I have a therapy couch in my office, and it's just like, tell me what your problem is, and let's woosah, meditate, and all that good stuff. Maritza, I see you have a hand raised. Go for it.
Yes. Basically, I have owned several different properties throughout the year, and when we purchased our first house, it was in the times where interest rates were high. So I've been through I've seen a lot of different markets, and I'm familiar with a lot of the individual elements. My background is in finance and accounting. So I also have seen a lot of the good things about real estate, such as, the value with the taxes and all that, and how it can make a difference for somebody's finances, as far as like being able to live a better life and not waste a lot of their money. through renting or, basically making better use of their resources to live the life that they want to.
Awesome. I love that. So you've got on the ground experience and as well as finance background. Awesome. Anybody else want to share their strengths or their perspective? There are no wrong answers because it's, again, all about you. Okay. I'm a nurturer. I love that. Thank you, Leslie. All right, so let's get into what do buyers want? And that should be in the participant guide on page 6 as well. And when asked the most important factor in choosing a real estate agent, these essentially were the top 5 answers from buyers. And so we are looking at, top one was help finding the right home to purchase, help buying negotiating terms of sale, help with price negotiation, determine what comparable homes are selling for. Any ahas from that page? Empathetic, creative, intuitive, friendly, I think globally. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Lydia, for continuing to share. I'm seeing the chats. I look. So yeah, this is what buyers want. I think it's interesting that the help finding the right home is the big one. And if we go to the next one, what buyers value, it's an agent is honest and trustworthy. And it looks like I don't have the percentages here, but if you have the participant guide, it's the top one is agent is honest and trustworthy. Agent's experience is at 16%. The reputation of an agent is 16%. Agent is a friend or a family member is 14%. Agent's knowledge of the neighborhood is 8%, as is agent has a caring personality and is a good listener. And then of course, agent is timely with responses. Agent's association with a particular firm. But the big one is, again, agent is honest and trustworthy. And I don't know about you, but I think that's interesting that that's at 19%. And agent is a friend or a family is at 14%. I don't know if anybody else thought that was a little interesting, but I always laugh at that. Any other ahas from that particular page? No. All right, so then what do sellers want? And most of it's pretty much the same, right? Buyers want an agent who is capable of getting them in the right home at the best possible price and providing good guidance. Absolutely. And sellers, the 20%, they're looking for help selling the market to potential buyers, as well as help pricing the home competitively. Then selling the home within a specific time frame, help finding a buyer for a home is 14%. Help seller find ways to fix up homes to sell it for more, 14%. And then what sellers value is the reputation of an agent is at 31%, which again, I think is pretty synonymous with what we saw with buyers, right? It's that honesty is big. Agent isn't honest and trustworthy is 19%. And then agent is a friend or a family member is 15%. So if you are here, it's probably because you are new to the industry, which is great. And if you are new to the industry, put yes or in the chat or nod. Wonderful. So being new to the industry has a lot of benefits to it. Does anybody know why it's so great to be a new agent? You can take a stab at it. No wrong answers. Tiffany Coco.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Why is it so great to be a new agent in this industry? Fresh out of training, exactly.
You're not learning bad habits.
Not learning bad habits. Number one, thank you, Donna. Yes, you're brand new to the industry, so everything has a fresh perspective and you're willing to learn, which is absolutely amazing. And so, and that's no knock against our seasoned agents. I love all of our seasoned agents dearly, but the more seasoned you are, the more habits you've already formed. Whereas as a brand new agent, you have a fresh eyes and fresh perspective to provide to your clients at an equally high level as that seasoned agent, which is amazing. So if as you're delivering your value proposition as a brand new agent, if you are ever thinking, gosh, I'm going up against somebody who's been in the business for 10 years or 20 years, you offer that value of a fresh set of eyes and that hunger to help them find the best home as much as that experienced agent. Please do not knock yourself because you are new. And
You still like
here,
people.
right? And you're here to sharpen those skills, correct? To sharpen and refine those skills a little bit more. So thank you, Donna. Woohoo. And more innovative ideas. Thank you, Leela. All right, so let's take a look at who are our competitors. Real estate obviously has gone through changes in the past few years, and investors have come in with the intent to disrupt the industry. You have iBuyers, Zillow, and so it's very important to know who the local competitors are. And what their value proposition is as well. So anybody feel free to shout out who, name a competitor.
Another broker.
Give me one, specifically.
Remax.
Remax, awesome. Do you know what Remax's value proposition is?
Very experienced full-time agents, for the most part.
Very experienced full-time agents. Got it. And I see Zillow, I see Coldwell. Does anybody know what Zillow's value proposition is? EXP. Redfin. William Foster, good. So, I mean, Zillow, let's use Zillow as an example. Their value proposition is the consumer can find their home without a dedicated agent, in a sense, right? That's a competitor because, hey, I'm over here. It is so important to know your competitors and know what their value proposition is, because as an agent, you can counter that and say, well, Zillow may say they'll find you the home without an agent, but because I'm your fiduciary, I can help you find your dream home without the hassle. I'm the person that you can trust because I'm in person and I'm not just a machine, if you will. And so, yeah, I highly say know who your competitors are, look at their brochures, see what they have to offer, and then write down what you can counter, because I'm sure you're 10 times better than your competitors. You're with Keller Williams, which is the #1 in volume and the #1 in units, which automatically negates whatever value that they have to offer, because you know that we have that backing. You have the training and the tools and the leverage to help your clients, which is amazing. Woohoo. You also have technology. So your technology is out of the park, 10 times better than your competitors as well. So think of Command. KW is a well of value proposition, especially in today's market, because we're investing in technology that essentially allows you to reach your customers at a higher level than Long and Foster, than Taylor Properties. And that's no knock against them. So if you are with Long and Foster or anything, I love you guys too. But as KW, I know that our value proposition is very strong. And so just the wealth within Command is absolutely amazing. And I think somebody earlier mentioned that they have their database in Command. So kudos to you. I continually push utilizing that, as it is a good value add. And even though Command is still fairly new, it's continually evolving to soon, maybe next year or within the next couple of years, it will be able to kind of tell you what your schedule is like. That, hey, Karen, you have 2 closings today, and a listing appointment on Friday, and all that good stuff. And I see Min has a little baby, so hello. Let's see. And so in the I'm gonna skip that piece of it and move a little bit on to activity, which is on pages 12 and 13 in your participant guide. Just kind of zip on through. So remember, your value proposition is a unique, memorable, and persuasive statement that expresses the value of working with you. Says what you're doing to earn your commission and holds you accountable to those high standards. And so on page 12 and 13, it has a fancy dancy little roadmap. So we're gonna just take a couple of minutes to kind of craft that mind map, if you will. Because again, our purpose is to craft the value proposition. And so on page 12, it has my value proposition, services, character, skills, knowledge. Let's just take about 5 minutes to kind of continue writing out some of those pieces and all that good stuff. All right. So if you are still working on your value propositions or in the participant guides, that's groovy. And would anybody like to share what their working value proposition is? I'm assuming we're a non-judgmental group. I know I am. And so if there are at least 2 or 3 that would like to just unmute, but then share their value proposition, by all means. I know my value proposition is to essentially transform our agents' lives and ensure that they are, again, hitting their goals by any means necessary. Or my other value proposition is to leave the place better than I found it, which is kind of my elevator pitch. Marit says, knowledge about the local market and real estate matters in general. I like that. Thank you. Anybody else? Sell me on your value. Why should I work with you? Yep. Just gotten a little shy and nervous. That's fine. If you want to put it in the chat, by all means, if you're still thinking of what to write in terms of value proposition, by all means, continue playing around with it. And it doesn't have to be short or concise. It can be something long. Kendra, knowing the market, good listener, hear what you want and where can you get close. Listen to people's needs and want to help them. Thank you for that. Again, if this is your first time and you're like, goodness, I don't know what to write. I advised somebody the other day, just kind of write what's your little autobiography. Feel free to write a whole paragraph about yourself and what you have to provide to somebody. And from there, when you're reading it, then just kind of shorten it to just 3 or 2 little bullet points of this is who I am. Because a value proposition is synonymous with an elevator pitch, if you will. If you were in an elevator with somebody and you had to sell them on your service, your customer service, what would you tell them about yourself? And what I love with the comments in the chat is everybody's value, again, is different. You know, some of it may be similar, but each person has a different verbiage or a different value to provide to that one person, which is awesome in our purpose. Our aim is to find people the right home at the best value to them through our knowledge, experience, tenacity, and expert negotiation skills. Yay, we are a dedicated husband and wife team that work for our client to help them achieve their dreams. I love it. Awesome, thank you. Flexibility of scheduling, willing to go above and beyond, willingness to work hard for my clients at delivering good service and results. Awesome. Feel free to keep flooding the chat with your value proposition. And I will share my email with you guys towards the end of the class. If you want to send that my way as well, you're more than welcome to. But just kind of having this who am I statement is wonderful. And that kind of allows us to move into that delivering of value. So the first piece is distinguishing yourself with the information that you know. George, being personable, passionate, and dedicated to pleasing the client. Perfect. A value proposition shouldn't just be something that you say, all right? It should be something that you deliver on. And so as I'm seeing these come through the chat, it's just a matter of how do you apply it. So what kinds of knowledge as a real estate agent are you expected to have? And that's my question to the group. Or what kinds of knowledge would truly set you apart from the competition?
I think one thing, you know, and it's, I guess there's one for buyers and one for sellers, but, you know, if you're working with sellers, helping them to understand what it means to get their house, you know, ready to go on the market and what renovations, if you will, or updates will they actually, you know, get their money back on versus ones that they won't.
Right, absolutely. Again, it kind of goes back to that fiduciary role, right, Blair? Your fiduciary role includes being essentially the local expert for your client.
Right.
And that's whether it's a seller or a buyer. Being honest, even when it's hard, knowing the market, absolutely, George and Cindy. Knowing the contracts, absolutely. Again, all of this is really being the expert for your clients. And you should be able to tell them everything they could reasonably want to know about an area or about the property that they are about to invest in. Again, this is the biggest purchase of their lives, right? And so you want to ensure that if your value is to provide them with the best home for them in that given situation, that's what you're delivering on. Because again, you don't want to be that bad forest cafe that they tell their friends about. I hope not. And in order to know the market is, again, attending classes like Ignite, attending the contract classes, and even more than that, but just previewing the homes and looking at the market, making friends with the contractor and things of that nature. And that continuous drive of knowledge and improvement is part of, we have a series called 6 Personal Perspectives. And that's our main focus on learning the mindset and self-mastery. So if you see a 6 Personal Perspectives and have not taken that course, I do strongly encourage you look into it, because it's all about mindset and all that good stuff. So we're gonna move past on that one to creating a stellar experience. So again, the 3 aspects of service is knowing the purpose of real estate, knowing your value proposition and your fiduciary role, and all contribute essentially to ensure that the best experience for your client is had. I can't stress that enough. So for you, and we kind of asked this earlier, but what qualifies as an excellent real estate experience? I see people typing away. Awesome. A win-win situation for all parties. Yes, absolutely. What services are you or your office responsible for providing? And then the third question it asks is, what allied resources can you leverage to improve client experiences? So, I mean, when you're thinking about a win-win situation for all parties, right? Those should be kind of the 3 questions you think of, especially when providing value, is what qualifies this as an excellent real estate experience? What services am I responsible for? And who are my allied resources? If that water heater breaks down, who am I gonna call? And will they provide the same level of care that I would to my client? Because it all ties together. I'm going to skip through that. Going beyond the call of duty and delivering excellent service. All the time. Follow up after closing to just check in. Awesome. All right, so in the participant guide, it does past participant. I don't know if I would like to start. So it asks that we pair up, but I'll just ask this out loud. It's on participant guide page 15. And what is one service that you would like to start providing for your clients? So thinking on the value proposition that you drafted earlier, what's something that you would like to provide? And you can write it in the chat or speak it out loud, and we can kind of work through that together. So sorry, if you're promising, I'm gonna make sure your house is market ready. What does that entail? And do you have that service? already available. And if you don't, this may be the best group to find that service as well. And awesome. Cool. I know one of the things that I mean, we're heading into the fall season. So I know one service that some of our agents in Rockville are starting to look for is people who can do a good heating or a good heating inspection service, just to ensure that the furnace is all up to code and all of that good stuff for their clients or potential clients. And a plumber, if anybody has a good plumber, I know people are always looking for that. Feel free to drop it in the chat on there. Kriatha, right? Professional photos from men. Does anybody know a professional photographer in the Maryland area? Somebody that they know, love, and trust that they would recommend? I know in our office, be a go-to resource, provide them with good resources and no information. Thank you. VIP headshot in Frederick from Nate. Thank you, Nate. Larry Kovacs, PhilGivens.com. Wonderful. JC Penney. I didn't know if those were still in business. That shows you the last time I've been to a mall. But I love that. Drone video. Drone video. There was a vendor I met with the other day that did drone videos. Let me see if I can find. I'll see if I can find it and provide it to you. But even Keller Offers is a good resource. What I love about the photography recommendations is, again, those are some allied resources that you have as a part of your value proposition. And by providing those to men, hopefully that will continue to spread. And not only are you providing them business, but hopefully they are providing you business as well, and in turn. Nima Mohammadi Photography Gambrels. Awesome. Okay. And so the next piece is really just kind of a recap of the value propositions. Again, it's all about you. This class moves pretty quickly because a value proposition, it's, again, all about you. It's just kind of who are you and why should I work with you? Are there any ahas or additional comments with regards to the value proposition? I want to make sure I capture those both in the chat. I'm loving the conversations, by the way, so thank you so much for that and your attentiveness there. Any ahas? I've got a couple more photography contacts in my book. That's for one. Let's see. And again, I saw some really great value props in the chat earlier, so I appreciate that. That one. All right. Any more ahas? And if not, we'll just kind of move it on. Drone guy will reach out to some photographers. Awesome. So the next piece is really just focusing in on those daily successful habits. Know what your values are. Thank you. Awesome. And the next piece is those daily habits. So I'm going to make sure that we kind of touch on those, which is 10 contacts added daily, 10 conversations a day had, 10 handwritten notes, and 10 homes previewed per week. Who here has had a chance to preview homes per at least 10 homes? I saw that, Catherine. Yeah, 10 homes, it's recommended. Awesome. So yeah, so now we're gonna, it's a little late, but I think this is kind of actually the perfect time to do a little lead gen, if you will, or some role play. We have written down our value proposition. And so I'm going to put down a small challenge to either call or email one person with your value proposition. And it can be your friend, it can be your family member, it can be anybody, and just kind of tell them who you are as a real estate agent. And of course, ask them if they are looking to or know anybody who's looking to buy or sell a home. And so we're going to spend, so yeah, that is my challenge. Can we achieve it? I think so. One text message or one email, and that kind of adds as your one conversation a day to somebody about real estate. Just nice. And we will spend about 5 minutes on that one, or 10 minutes on that. And I can share that. So, and I am back. So if you had taken the opportunity to contact somebody, say yes, or either out loud or in the chat. Awesome. And Leslie, how was that for you? If you can come off mute, that's fine. Or if you can chat it, that's perfectly fine as well.
So one person was very responsive. I let her know that I was knowledgeable and very flexible, and I could work with her work schedule. Then as though I know she works 2 jobs. She just, I'm willing to listen and go above and beyond as far as getting some houses for her that I think she would like to look at based off of what she tells me.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Cindy, Woody, or Alvin, would either of you guys like to share your experience in sharing your value proposition? Thank you, Lydia. Sent text message. Wonderful. I love it. Yeah, so hopefully you guys found that fairly easy. And if it was a little tricky, it will get easier. Trust me. A person said he wants to get married first, so I'm pushing the proposal. Good job, Liddy. Awesome. And hey, I mean, go for it. Let somebody go off mute. A slight wave of stress. All right, let's talk about that, Lydia. Syntax, still waiting for a response. Yes, using the stress management. Think about it like this, again, with regards to the value prop, or even just in real estate, you're calling or reaching out to people with the best of intent, right? You're not just calling them to sell them something silly. You are literally calling them to find their dream home, in a sense. So when you, again, thinking of the value proposition, and when you're calling or texting somebody, don't think of it as a bother. Think of it as, I'm here to ensure that this person finds their best home because I'm the best person that can do that. With my set of skills, I can ensure that they have all the best needs, or have all of their needs met, and have that best home. So whenever, that's usually my little mantra of, I'm calling because I care. If you see a call from me, and Lydia, I honestly don't necessarily like calling people myself, but I don't know about any of you. With COVID and being distant from people since like March, I have no problem giving a call to say, hey, this is Martin, I care about you. Just trying to see how you're doing. If there's anything I can provide for you, let me know. Because that's a part of my value proposition, to ensure that my people are taken care of or connected with the best people to take care of them. So a phone call from a realtor is never a bother. It's a care. It's a care call. It's a care conversation. And so when you're doing your lead generating, just think of that I'm calling, I'm texting because I care. It's 7:35, but I'm reaching out because I care about you. Want to ensure that you are in the best home. And if you're not, let me help fix that for you. Boom. Let's see. And so you're welcome. When it comes to previewing homes, does that mean getting the lockbox code and actually going inside? Woody, it could mean that. It could also just mean if you have Bright MLS, you can preview homes that way if you don't feel like driving all up and down the coast, or Maryland, DC, Virginia. It could literally just be understanding the home, understanding the neighborhood and those things, which could count as previewing a home. So if you are a dual career agent, and if you're a dual career agent and may not necessarily have the daytime to go previewing homes, definitely use Bright MLS to kind of, and if you're trying to get into farming or something of that nature, utilize Bright, utilize the resources that are at your fingertips. And hey, I mean, as you're sending out, hopefully you all have the KW Command mobile app. And if you have clients, hopefully you're sharing that with your clients. And If they're like, hey, I'm looking at places in Silver Spring, if you have a lunch break, use your little bright MLS, use command to kind of see what's available and just send it on. Again, part of the value of being a local expert in real estate. And awesome, Anise, you preview homes all day, so do I. Are there any other ahas or comments? Open forum. Comments, questions, ahas. And
what was the statement that you had made earlier before we talked about who are your competitors? You had made a statement saying if you're talking to a buyer, talking about value proposition, they were like, I have a list of buyers that your agent may not have access to, or something. It was a statement that you had made.
Ooh.
I know I should have asked it earlier. I'm pulling your brain right now.
To be honest, I do not remember. It wasn't relating to competitors.
It was, yeah, I think so. It was right around that conversation about competitors, and you were just trying to give a person, you know, some edification, I guess, about yourself as far as why it's good to work with you. And you know.
So I believe I was essentially saying why you should choose me and not our competitors, because within Keller Williams, we are the #1 in unit count, as well as the #1 in volume, which is true. And also, I think with that conversation, if you are a brand new agent and let's say you don't have stats of your own, and thank you, Woody, for reminding me, please utilize your market center stats, because we are pretty much one KW. So if you have no numbers of your own, feel free to use your market center's numbers, and if the market center doesn't have the best stats in the world, utilize KWRI or Keller Williams International numbers, because you are a part of Keller Williams. And as I tell my agents, this is a real estate business. So even if you are brand new, you have that fresh set of eyes to help your client find the best home, but then you have KW, the machine, kind of behind you to support you, to help you with ensuring that everything is copacetic, that the T's are crossed, that the I's are dotted. Nobody's gonna leave you high and dry, which is one of my favorite parts about being with this organization, is you really have that support system, which again is what separates us from others. So hopefully that answered your question, Woody, on that front.
It did, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Blair, yes, previewing homes, I see, includes reviewing Bright MLS. Again, especially if you are a dual career agent, because I understand that could be a little tricky. And if you do have your central law card, it doesn't hurt to preview homes that way as well. Or if you're hosting open houses, previewing that neighborhood before you're hosting the open house, all of that also kind of counts and correlates, at least in my book. So on that front. Any other questions? Ahas. Woohoo.
Are people still using the Century Lock card?
They are, yes.
Okay.
At least in my area. I'm assuming it's the same across the board. People are using that Central Lock card. Mm-hmm. Let's see. So it does have role play and scripts for the next 30 minutes. Although we have about like 18 minutes together. So I'm gonna kind of bypass that one, but I do again, continue sharing that value proposition with more than one person. Hey, Woody, looks like you have a question, maybe? Oh, okay, cool. But I'm gonna continue to challenge you to share that value proposition. Try reaching out to 10 or 9 more people if you already did the text message and the phone calls and things of that nature, because that's a part of just introducing yourself. My saying is, you, even though the stats kind of show differently, you want your friends and family to know that you're in real estate, because those are the people that should hopefully love and trust you. And you would kick yourself in the butt if they choose to go with Billy Bob at Redfin when you're licensed and right next door to them. So spread the word, tell them that you're licensed, tell them what your value proposition is, and all that good stuff there. So let's skip that. Update contacts and follow up. And all of these are kind of just reminders to update your contacts, practice your the contract. Use command and connect to get help if you are a KW agent, of course. Make your success list. So what's on your to-do list? What should you do? Priority task. I believe somebody mentioned earlier today that they love time blocking. That's one of my love languages as well. I have about several different jobs, and I would be in a corner crying somewhere without a properly blocked calendar. And so if you're a dual career agent, and I'm kind of a dual career myself, a strong calendar, a strong time block calendar of what your tasks are is vital and important there. And I'm gonna end it a little early. If there aren't any more questions or ahas, if you wouldn't mind any feedback for me, there's the little surveymonkey.com. Always happy to assist and get better on the instruction train. But any additional questions or ahas or womps and all that good stuff.
Just wanted to say great job and thank you.
Thank you. And hi, Karen and Sun, I see you. Thank you guys again. I'm gonna put my email in the chat if you ever need anything. Happydays.com. And my number is 240-462-7855. So if you ever want to, if you would like to share your value proposition or have any questions, definitely feel free to email me. I will say I get about 200 emails a day, but I do answer them pretty much within good reason. So feel free to email, call me if there are any questions, or if you need a therapist for a couple of minutes. That's part of my gig. And I just wish you guys the best in your Ignite journey, the best in your real estate journey, and look forward to continuing to crush it. And have a great night. And if you guys haven't had dinner, enjoy your dinner. I haven't had anything to eat all day, so I'm gonna do that myself. And good night.